Caesar, your people weakened our city by rebelling against your human masters. But we who survive will create a new race. And you and yours will be brought low. And you shall learn again what it is to have a master. Ha! You're learning already. Clever ape.
Oh, no.
Ape. Clever ape. But then you always were clever. I was told how you chose your own name. But every Caesar must have his Brutus. Did you know that? Ape? Do you understand that? Ape! And now Ape City is about to lose its king.
No, Colt, no!
Hey, Adrenalheads, welcome back. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jerry.
And the movie we are covering for this particular podcast is Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which came out in 1973.
Mm-hmm.
And the synopsis for this one, Jerry?
Okay, 10 years after a worldwide series of ape revolutions and a brutal nuclear war among the humans, Caesar must protect survivors of both species from an insidious human cult and a militant ape faction alike.
Yep. We'll dive really into this.
And we should say that this is the final movie in the original 5.
Yes.
So
it is. It's the last one before they actually did a short-lived. It was probably one season of the Planet of the Apes, and it was based loosely on something that happened within this timeline too, I believe.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
it was the apes and humans trying to live together and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still that ongoing battle. Anyhow, as always, we go into people we may know within the film. Start us off, Jerry.
Okay, we got the big one, Roddy McDowall as Caesar, with over 270 acting credits. So we cannot list them all because I don't know 2/3 of them. So,
exactly right.
I know who the guy is, but okay. So he's been in all 4 of the previous films except for Beneath the Planet of the Apes. One of my favorites of his was Fright Night, and Fright Night 2 when he was the movie host.
Yes.
And
that was actually the original Fright Night, everybody, not the remake.
Not the remake, the one in the 80s with Chris Sarandon. So,
correct.
Who made a great vampire.
Yes, he did.
And then we got How Green Was My Valley, and that was in the 40s, which I didn't know. I haven't seen that film in forever. But I have heard of it. So, and then A Bug's Life, Overboard, Class of 1984, which was a fun film. It wasn't the best one. The Black Hole as Vincent the Robot, which I remember. The Cat from Outer Space, Poseidon Adventure, and That Darn Cat.
Yeah,
which is also good.
That was good.
Mm-hmm. And he did some TV roles. One of my favorite ones was a Twilight Zone episode called "People Are Alike All Over." Did an episode of Quantum Leap, did some Batman animated series voiceovers, and several hundred other things that I'm not aware of or familiar with.
Like we always say with some of these actors, and we've done this before several times, if we were to just go over all their credits, we'd be here for days. We just fill in with the highlights, which is pretty cool. And breeze over. Obviously, it's just so that you're familiar. Obviously, we want to say, hey, yes, they were in other things that you've seen. It's the odd actors that you don't generally see them in everything. So to move along, we got Claude Atkins as General Aldo. He himself has 239 credits, mostly TV series and TV movies. So with the highlights, and Jerry had composed some of the stuff, which is pretty cool. TV, Sheriff Lobo and BJ and the Bear, which I miss. That's great TV. The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, and he was a regular in that. Twilight Zone episode, The Monster Are Due on Maple Street. Monsters.
The Monsters, yes. Oh, sorry. I forgot my S.
It's okay. The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, that one's a good one. So I'm hoping to encourage people who hear this to go see those episodes if they haven't, which I would that one I recommend highly. So
or do your, like they used to do it back in the 80s and 90s. Twilight Zone marathons for New Year's. So you could easily do that, throw it on. I'm sure some streaming service will have it, or YouTube. To continue on, Move On. Question. It's a trucking show. So moving on, we go to Move On. Gunsmoke, and apparently it was in 10 episodes. And there is Tarantula, the deadly cargo. I guess it was a TV movie. This was probably right around the 70s where it was so prominent with these like wasp movies and
The Swarm and
tarantulas. And there was that movie with Shatner that
Kingdom of the Spiders.
Yes.
I love that one.
So
okay, next up we have Natalie Trendy, who plays Lisa. She was in all the other Apes films except for the first one because she played a mutant, and then she played the Doctor in Conquest. And I think she was, I forget who she was in the last one. I think she was actually maybe Lisa in the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, and as far as TV goes, she's been in Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Perry Mason, Bonanza, and Wagon Train. Now this is common among a lot of these actors around this era, that in the previous decade, they were doing a lot of Westerns. It's very common for that. And especially when you do like 84 episodes a season of like Bonanza, like I think they did, I think it was probably really in the 30s, but it seemed like 80 something per season.
Yeah. And they were contracted by studios. So they were always throwing, and they didn't have a choice of what they were doing. So if you already did a Western, you were, guess what, doing another Western.
Yes.
or whatever was popular at the time for the movie company.
Yeah, and to finish off on her list is she's also in Wagon Train.
Yep. Then they keep just Wagon Training. I forget where I got that from. What movie?
That's from Stand By Me.
I thought so. Did you ever notice that they keep Wagon Training?
They don't get anywhere. It's like, how long does it take to cross the country?
All right. Next up, Severn Darden, and plays Governor Culp, and he himself has 125 credits. So Conquest, which was the prior movie, Real Genius, if you remember that, Val Kilmer, Back to School, Saturday the 14th. Oh my goodness, that's a really cheeseball movie.
That's an obscure one. Yeah, I love that one.
Mother Jugs and Speed. Okay.
It's one of those 70s driving movies, I believe, if I remember right. So.
Or exploitation. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
In TV, we could see him in shows like $6 Million Man or The Bionic Woman as well, too. And Bonanza and I Dream of Jeannie and Car 54, Where Are You? Which was in the 50s, everybody, too, by the way.
Yes. Because these, the time frame is shifted for all these. Because I think the only one of these actors alive now is Paul Williams, and I think he's in his 80s. I want to say
late 80s. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Next actor is Lou Ayres, who plays Mandamus. Now, I totally didn't. When I first saw this movie a while back, I totally didn't get who he was, but. One of his best roles, probably one that he's most famous for, is All Quiet on the Western Front. We're talking the original.
Original, yeah.
Yeah. Then he was in The Omen 2 and the Quester tapes, which I really like, because that just the question of having the human android hybrid type thing going on.
Yep. And that was in the early years too. That was before we got into modern sci-fi too. Everybody.
Exactly. It's just a guy in a red suit twitching.
That's a lot.
A lot, yes. Okay. Excuse me. And And as far as TV goes, was in Battlestar Galactica. I remember him he only was in the first episode, and he went splody. So,
That is true.
Hawaii Five-O, Kung Fu, Big Valley. Oh, and big surprise, Gunsmoke. Another Western.
Yep. And lastly, oh no, you got
a couple
more.
more. We got 3 more.
All right. So next up would be Paul Williams, who plays Virgil. He is a composer, and he has 217 credits. One which includes something that Jerry we were talking about before we started recording. He loves the song in the Muppet movie, The Rainbow Connection.
Mm-hmm.
So then he wrote The Love Boat, and he wrote all the themes for that. Apparently, Ishtar. Mm-hmm. Which was not a great movie, everybody. Yeah. And then you got Phantom of the Paradise, which I remember too.
Mm-hmm. It's a guy with a big silver helmet and black makeup around his eyes.
Yep. On the helmet.
Yes. Yes.
In movies, he's usually mostly a supporting role actor. So Smokey and the Bandit, if you'll recall, he was the one that followed around with the sheriff and everything. Baby Driver, the Muppet movie. Yep, he did make a cameo as well, even though he did the music in that. The Doors, which was with Val Kilmer again, and The Princess Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
And for TV, you can see him in The Bold and the Beautiful and Goliath.
Which I've only seen a couple episodes of, and it's like I kind of fell off on it, and I just got to get back to it when I get some time. But the way TV's made nowadays, you always have new episodes and shows all year round now. So
exactly,
that's been the trend. Yeah, and that's been the trend like the last decade or so.
Yeah, ever since streaming became more of a predominant thing now, whereas syndicated TV is really not what it used to be. Mm-hmm. So everybody goes more of like, for Netflix and Prime and all that stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, and then next to last, we have Austin Stoker, who plays McDonald. Movies are Assault on Precinct 13, Airport 75, and TV is various ones, Mod Squad, McCloud, $6 Million Man, The Incredible Hulk, Trapper John MD, Falcon Crest, Cagney and Lacey, and The Bold and the Beautiful. Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot of credits, though.
Yeah, it's true. And of course, we have the one and only John Huston, who's known as the Lawgiver, in which he was like more of like the announcer in the film, narrator of giving the story of how it started.
Yeah, a very distinct voice, which he's got one of those like James Earl Jones.
Yes.
Kind of a deeper voice, very, very distinctive voice. And if you were to hear it in older movies, you would know. So.
You would know who it is. Obviously, he's very distinguished, too. He's an actor and director. Movies we might notably know him from, did a lot of narration and voice work. Chinatown, Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. I remember this particularly because I used to watch it every holiday, both of these. The Return of the King, and he did the voice. I believe he was Gandalf, wasn't he?
He was Gandalf in The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, but he did narration on this, on the Return. That's what it was. And then The Hobbit, he did the voice of Gandalf. And like I said, it's always distinguished. And a lot of people, look at those cartoons now, those animated movies, as being they're not what animation is today, but we wouldn't have animation without it. And to me, and that was done in the 60s, I believe, too.
That one, no, I think the Hobbits were done in the 70s.
They were?
Like the Hobbit and Return of the King. So
I thought they were late 60s going into 70s, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was born in the 70s, but I saw them later on.
Yeah, me
anyhow. Next up, directing, you got Prizzi's Honor, Annie, A Farewell to Arms, Moby Dick, The African Queen, which was a classic movie, The Red Badge of Courage, another one, Key Largo, The Treasure of Sierra Madre, and The Maltese Falcon. which
all John
is
Huston directed. Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of those are classics. So. Dang near say all of those are classics now.
Yeah. Now on to the fun of talking about
okay. Here we
Battle
go.
for the Planet of the Apes. So
here we go.
Here we go. All right. I'll start off with you, Jerry. You could go. You go first. You were the one that brought this up. You're like, "Hey, let's finish off the Apes on the original run. Let's get this going." And I was like, "Yeah."
This is the one who's like, we got to say, okay, this is something we got to get through because I'm a completionist. I'm not gonna shrink from this responsibility. I want to say it. But I have to say, this is not the best in the series, and in the overall pantheon of classic Apes, Burton, and then the newer Apes movies, starting with the one 10 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be in my value or evaluation of these the second to the worst movies.
Yes,
in my evaluation, it's not the best. Here, but I like it better than Tim Burton's film, which tells you which one I consider the worst one.
It's the one that I never really go to at all. When they used to do this, where I used to live in New York City, WPIX Channel 11 would always host on Sunday morning till late afternoon, or even early in the morning, literally a marathon of Apes movies. Now they would put them in and out of continuity, so you didn't know what you were getting next unless you saw the TV guide. And sometimes they would even go beyond that and not even put it in the right from the TV guide itself. This one I'd be like, I'd rather play at the time, because it was like 70s. I'll be playing with my toys or whatever as a kid, and I'll be like, I'm too busy playing with these. I'll leave it on in the background.
Yeah.
and to me, I always thought that too, just because right around that time, it was also Saturday morning go to TV for the actual TV show, which was Planet of the Apes during that time. And my brother and my sisters would probably have that on in the morning after I had already watched all my cartoons, because it was their time. I got to watch my Scooby-Doo and all that good stuff in the morning. Shazam and ISIS live action. And ISIS
the power, they called it the Power Hour, if I remember right.
Yeah, or the repeats of Land of the Lost that I used to grow up on. But it to me, it just like the effects of this particular movie, the story, the plot was kind of thin and never held your interest. And the two characters that you have in there, you're like, huh? I really want to invest my patience and time to watching them. Not saying that the actors didn't do a good job of what they were given. It's just, I think it had to do with the writing, and it was just at that time, this was the last. So I think personally, there was Apes everything. It was all marketing at this point. So I remember having a huge, might have been from Battle, but it was one of the general gorillas with the big pompadour helmet that he had, but it was a big puzzle. It was a large puzzle. It wasn't anything small. It was like a big one that you would put into almost to make like a poster. We had that for years. It's probably been was thrown out probably in the early 80s at one point, because nobody used it after a while and it was just beat up. But Apes were on everything at that time when this movie came out. It was on lunch boxes. You had stuff in stores in Kmart or whatever at the time, which would sell, all the hot items. And then sometimes that stuff stagnated on the shelves for years after that. And that was because of this particular film. And then that people were kind of fading out, because by then it was the 70s. And everybody was more into more space
Yeah.
You know,
See, something happened in like May of '77 that kind of changed a lot of things. So,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
I forget the name of the movie. Something about fighting in among the stars or something like that.
Yeah,
A war
exactly.
among the stars.
And then during that time, what happens? Battlestar Galactica comes
Mm-hmm.
out, and then by the early '80s, it was more Buck Rogers and
Yeah.
in the 25th century and stuff like that I loved. And and then of course, everything revolved around space at that point. So even though, yes, space did come into a place with these movies, remember, they started off in a rocket ship and they went in the future, or were in suspended animation and woke up in a world where it was filled with apes. And then they also went back in time through a spaceship.
Using the same spaceship.
Yes.
How they fixed it, I don't know.
So
how they fixed it, got it launched, who the hell knows?
My question to you, though, Jerry. So, because they talk about the people who are mutants and stuff, the actual humans that are mutants. We saw some of those mutants once before in another Apes movie.
Yeah, we did.
Now, in this continuity, are those the same ones, or is this after or before that event?
Those are the descendants of these. The way I took it, because the Apes movies were 600 years later, something like that. Because this is supposed to be set in the early 21st century, and the lawgiver talks in 2670, and I think, if I remember right, I have written down here. Ship's chronograph says 2673. That's the one with Charlton Heston took a look at.
Yes.
So, I don't know how they, if they were so irradiated, how do they reproduce without severe mutation? Because they're constantly irradiated?
Yeah, you would think they'll be sterile.
Yeah. You'd think, but...
And are they really pleasant to look like by that? Unless they're used to it.
Well, yeah, in the Beneath movie, they look pretty janky. So.
Gnarly. Yep. Look like burned skin. Like it looked like severe burn victims, which was like really nasty. Because back in the day, that was very grimacing. Even if you're like I remember as a kid, it's like it could be like the late 70s, early 80s at the time. It's like we'd have Sunday afternoon, Sunday dinner or whatever. My father would be home from work and everything, so he would leave the TV on because there would be certain movies. You got Robinson Crusoe on Mars, and then it would have like an Apes movie. My mother, I looked at, I'm like, I think I said it out loud as a little kid, going, do we have to watch this? This is terrible. This movie to watch while we're eating. My father even said that, because I'm usually afraid of that stuff, but it just like that. It's like, I don't want to be eating that while I have to eat something now. It's like, it looks like my steak.
Yeah. It's like, no, thank you.
But yeah, I brought that up because I did watch this. I watched this a while ago. I haven't watched it since because we delayed a little bit with recording. But I remember the movie to the point where I could say, I like this part, I like that part. There was certain parts in it, and that's what we're leading to now. Favorite moments in the movie that you liked, or moments that were interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start off with the opening, how they set the stage, and given the length of the movie, I almost want to call this padding at the front end, because they set the stage for the recap using Escape from the Planet of the Apes and Conquest, and setting the stage for what happened during the war. So, and
they use flashbacks too within it too. So there, a lot of I have the documentary, everybody. If you get the box set on Blu-ray, or if you purchase it on iTunes, sometimes they'll have it full and you get that documentary. They do talk about they reutilize a lot of scenes from films, not just to clip into showing what had happened, but also for other films to go in. They repurpose it, which is so funny. Same thing with the masks. If you look at it, with the battle scene and everything, the majority of them are just guys with gorilla masks on half the time with, where they have regular clothes and stuff like that. And that's where it was at that time towards the end, because the budget not so big for this one.
Yeah, the budget was pared down, if I remember right. So
yeah, the opening scene I liked was with the school setting with the kids, the mix of the the kids. Some of them were chimps, some of them were apes, some of them were human. And I love how they incorporated that. It was a sense of them trying to work together as a community, but there's still that outlying militaristic feeling of the gorillas at that point and taking over and then trying to get rid of humans. But and that's usually that's pretty much the premise of the movie itself. And then on top of that, we have the mutants that are there too, and dealing with them and their issue.
Yeah, and those mutants are, a product of their own bombing of their own cities.
Yes. Yes, especially when you see some of those cities at certain points too. Because I believe there was a scene where we do get to see something like that.
Yeah. So next one I have, I call it the quote unquote destruction of the school and chasing down of the teacher after the teacher tells Aldo no, which they're forbidden from doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, the destruction amounting to tipping a table over and ripping some paper. So
a little bit extreme.
Yeah, because when Caesar, they explained to Caesar what happened, and says, okay, go back and restore the school, and they don't do it. And I was like, oh, dude, what did they could have done it on their way back to the horses when they just like, okay, let's write this table and we're done. That's kind of what it amounted to.
Yeah, I know. They exaggerated it on it in a lot of ways.
A little bit, but I understand that, and I'll get to it later in quotes. And so I'll just refer back to this, but there's a whole thing regarding humans telling apes no.
Yes, because that was a big no-no. One thing I did like, we already mentioned it. I mentioned it of the reutilized old sets and from the older Apes movies, and using shots. But the bomb city, the explosive city, that was pretty cool to me as well. I think you have this listed as well. But I thought that was pretty cool to see because don't they go into depth with the archives and how they are? Isn't it like a disc or something that's
it was a film reel. It looked like a bunch of film canisters in this protected archive.
Yeah, which is kind of outdated now if you think about it.
Well, they should have looked at Star Trek. They use a little, I call them the cheese blocks, because that's how you make the computers work better. It's like you put the information on a cheese block, just slip it in the computer.
Oh, yeah. yeah, exactly. Instead of like a disc or something.
Well, that was like the precursor for a disc. It's kind of what it reminded me of. And get back to the 80s and you watch it, and it's like you got to put yourself in the mindset of in the 70s and 80s when you had like the like in the early 80s with the first like the little stand-up toaster. I call them the Toaster Max because it was about the size of a toaster oven. Is that they would have this 3.5-inch floppy, and the Apple computers before that, they had the 5 1/4, and then eventually used the 3.5s. But before that, they had these bigger computers that used an 8-inch floppy disk. I don't know if you remember those.
I do. I remember it. And then on top of that, too, a lot of people don't get it that they're also utilizing technology that was around from the 30s and 40s, where they used tape to transfer data. And that's how early computers were through reel to reel. It was analog tape. It was mylar tape that they had with, had metal inside it through magnetism that transferred data and information.
Yeah. And a time before that too, they used punch cards.
Yes. Yeah. Almost like back in the day when you used to do your Scantron tests, and it was like almost like a punch ticket. Well, technically, it used to be a punch ticket for your time clock.
Yeah, I remember an engineering instructor of mine. He was talking about writing programs in Fortran that were written on punch cards. That you would take this stack of punch cards that there was this entire program that weighed, he said, about 25 pounds. It was like a few thousand lines of code written on these punch cards.
Mm-hmm. And it would be like a box of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would just be a box. And
almost like a shoebox full.
Yeah. And he said if you drop these, hopefully you numbered them.
Oh, yeah, because they're, if you don't have a number on it, there's no point of reference from where it starts and ends.
Exactly. So he said every time I transported this box of punch cards anywhere, this thing was secured tightly.
It's like putting it into like a big metal lunchbox with 2 latches on it to keep it intact.
Yeah, because what you do is it would have like a feeder roll, kind of like how a slicing, like a meat slicer does. Yes. And it had a little weight on top of it, and so it just it would feed the cards in through the machine. Push it
through. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue on. So about the viewing case. So they traveled to the bombed out city viewing the archive tape because they went back to Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and these were the interviews that they did with Zira and Cornelius that were because Zira was drugged at the time.
Yes. Yep, grape juice plus all that stuff that they talked about back then, but also talked about their experience with the humans, and it was like more of the history, and it was like we said before, it's reutilized material from the previous film. They just it was a cheap way to avoid doing more shoots and dialogue and things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's how you get away with stuff on the cheap. Especially when your budget's like, I forget what the exact cut was from the previous films, but
yeah,
wasn't good. So, all right. No. So go ahead with the next one.
To me, it was like the final battle scene for me. I know I'm probably jumping ahead, but I like the overall look, but you could tell this was done on a backlot set somewhere in California with the trucks and everything else, but it was all distance shot for the most part, if you notice. And the reason why, everybody, is because of the makeup. They didn't put too much into the makeup except for maybe the main actors, the main character actors that you see, the hero gorillas or the hero chimps. As we would call them, because in Walking Dead, they would say the hero zombie, because the hero zombie is one in the foreground. And then towards the end, Nicotero and K&B wound up doing a lot like what the Apes movie had done. They just put masks on them for background characters.
Yeah, because they're not shown up. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not shown, or they're just distant. And that's how they did this. So to avoid as much as they needed to. And it was so funny how at certain points, like there's almost like chase scenes with the trucks and everything. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's So I'll rewind just a few seconds here, or a few minutes. Yeah, is that my next one was we have General Aldo's fireside meeting with his army. All 30 of them. So if you can call that an army, I call that a squad.
It's all they can afford.
Yeah, it's all they can afford. Okay, so meeting with his army, and this is where Caesar's son Cornelius, does the little eavesdropping. He gets found out, but he says talking about them smashing the humans and then smashing Caesar, and then you hear, I call it like a record scratch moment where the gorillas just go silent. And it's like, what? And it's like, I call it my the Scooby-Doo moment.
Yeah,
because when I watched this, I watched it a couple of weeks ago in prep for this, and it's like, and that's what I thought about. It's like, oh, that was like a Scooby-Doo moment. Yeah, and then Cornelius gets found out, and Aldo cuts him out of the tree.
Yep,
cuts that branch.
Oh man.
Okay, but I'll piggyback on your battle scene, on the final battle scene. After they did the initial fallback, and there's just a lot of scenes in the final battle where it's just shooting and not a whole lot of dialogue other than saying fall back. But then they get into Ape City and everyone's playing dead. And then, and this is one of those cases where, all the soldiers are among the quote unquote dead apes, and Caesar's there, and the governor is going to be, wants to kill him personally. And then he says, now fight like apes. All the apes spring up, capture all the soldiers except for the ones that get away.
Yeah.
And this is the one where the Aldo and his riders come in and just eliminate everybody, including the governor, in the bus and the Jeep and everything. So a bus, Jeep, and a motorcycle. Yeah, that's the limit of their armor.
Yes.
And where the hell do they get the gas? Come on.
Well, that's a good question for the fact that unless they're able to refine it in some way themselves, and we all know this from like Fear of the Walking Dead and Walking Dead and all these shows that came out years later, they talk about it.
Yeah,
gas goes bad.
Yeah, it deteriorates because it is organic.
Yeah. So it goes bad. So
not organic in the sense of like, grain fed, but it's just but it's just it's based on an organic substance.
Yeah.
And it does have a lifespan.
Yes, and it's minerals. Unless they start learning how to make liquor and making alcohol based vehicles to drive. But then again, they would have to redo the whole engine.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of that, and again, is it 10 years, 12 years, 27 years? It's not really made clear. So they're using different time references.
That is true. It gets a bit confusing.
Okay, and then my final one, I think this might be yours too, was the Caesar and Aldo chase / one stroke fight. So,
yeah, literally it was. It's like, I guess they didn't want to pay too many stunt doubles.
It's not. It's like, everyone's going to get mad at Aldo because what's his name? Virgil called him out. And Aldo gets chased up a tree because, he can't fight everybody.
Yeah.
And just gets pushed out of a tree. And you don't, this is one of those cases where the, I think the stunt double would be the guy stunt dubbing for Claude Akins falling out of the tree. And that's pretty much it as far as like that goes. And aside from the battle scenes, but,
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you could tell listeners that we were not too involved within watching this movie too much, but we also don't really, it's not one of our favorites.
Yes. I mean, how long did we go on about the first one?
Oh,
we went over a while.
Yeah, that was a while. Well, that was early on, and I think when we covered that, we spent almost 2 hours on that. So obviously this is going by very quick.
Yes. Okay, so let's get to, I was going to say, we got interesting facts next.
Yep.
Okay, now I have a bunch here, and I'm not going to do them all because, folks can look it up if they want, but you want to start or should I start?
You could start, and then we'll alternate as we usually do.
Okay, so I had two. These are, I can match these facts together. The original McDonald, Harry Rhodes in Conquest, was also meant to return, but he refused, and the character was changed to his brother Austin Stoker. So that's the reason his name is McDonald as well. So, and then the original Governor Breck was originally planned to return, but that actor, Don Murray, wasn't interested, but Severn Darden was available. So, he was promoted to the governor and the main villain, which they're kind of two main villains, but they're not, one was kind of like Claude Akins. Aldo was kind of mustache twirly kind of villain.
Yeah, he was, if you think about it. One of them next up would be Paul Den was supposed to have written the 5th installment in the series, but was unable to do so for health reasons, apparently. Instead, John William Corrington and Joyce Hooper Corrington were hired after the success of the Omega Man, which we covered here, everybody.
Which I really liked. Yeah.
It came out in 1971. Joyce Corrington later admitted that she had never seen an Apes movie before being hired to write the next one, which could
Good
be
plan.
the reason why.
Good plan. Yeah.
And that's probably why they threw in half the other stuff for continuity sakes, for the fact that somebody directorial wise or production wise was like, well, this is not making any sense. So do this.
Yeah. And then to add to that, and Paul Dehn had recovered from his bout of illness sufficiently to come in at the end of pre-production and do a rewrite of the script. And although he rewrote 90% and changed the ending, he was only given a story credit.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll move on to the next one. During the Battle of the Apes City, there were many scenes of tree houses exploding in flames. In reality, due to the budget constraints, only one tree house was blown up. However, this explosion was filmed from multiple angles, so basically reuse what you already have. So they just did one shot where they filmed it from different angles. It's the same thing. You could probably see it on your end if you watch the movie again. So these shots were then divided and edited into multiple places in the finished film to give the illusion many tree houses had been blown up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Next one is director J. Lee Thompson, who also, not incidentally, but also directed Conquest. So was very unhappy about the budget limitations imposed, and he had to agree to direct the film before a final screenplay was in place. So when you sign your name on the line to contractually do this, and then you get hosed on the content and the budget, that's not a good thing.
No.
Okay.
All right. So the previous entry, Conquest of the Planet Apes, had incurred some criticism for being too violent. The intent with this sequel is that it should be more appealing to families and children in particular. That makes no sense in a sense that there's a lot of violence in here as far as.
And again, it's like this film is not exactly non-violent. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Okay, and then let's see. This is a couple good things about Paul Williams. It's like although he wore ape makeup on his face in the role of the orangutan Virgil, Paul Williams is seen with his own natural hair, which I have to say it is his own natural hair at least on the backside of that.
Yes, it's blonde.
Yeah, and he was, and coinciding with this is that he was scheduled to appear on a February 9th, 1973 episode of The Tonight Show. And he was filming scenes, but this filming ran long, and rather than canceling, and he went on Tonight Show with his ape makeup on. And when he got introduced, he started singing "Here's That Rainy Day," all while in costume. And he quipped during the interview that his unusual appearance was the result of 7 months of nothing but banana daiquiris. And we can include the link to that in the show notes.
Yes,
should they want to do it. So.
Yep. All right. The prologue and the epilogue, where the lawgiver delivers his lecture, takes place in North America in 2670, about 3 years before Charlton Heston's Taylor makes his final report aboard the ship in the original film prologue. The ship's chronograph records Earth time as 3:23:26:73, which doesn't make sense.
Well, if they did the what they call the Haslines model, yeah. If the time dilation, if you get close to the speed of light, your clock ticks a lot slower.
Yeah, I think it also deals with too the writers didn't watch a movie before.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I think that does it. We got one last one. Producer Arthur P. Jacobs died days after the film's release. And Paul Dehn, who worked on 4 of the 5 films, wrote a generous obituary about him in a London newspaper.
Huh. That's good.
Okay.
All right, on to quotes, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is when when Virgil is explaining to Caesar about the explain to the teacher when he said no to Aldo. It says, in all our years of slavery to mankind, the word no was the one word we were electrically conditioned to fear. Caesar has forbidden you its utterance in perpetuity. An ape may say no to a human, but a human may never say no to an ape.
One that I have that I actually pulled off, I thought was pretty good, was McDonald's saying, "We're not your children, Caesar. We have to a destiny to as equals, respecting each other, living together with the love." And then Caesar goes, "Love? The human way is violence and death." And Virgil goes, "Aldo wasn't human, was he, Caesar?" And then Lisa goes, "And you, Caesar, are a good and wise king."
Yeah. Let's see. I got another one here. Okay, when Virgil is explaining this to Caesar, he says, and I do like this because it's kind of the way it was written. I really liked it. It says, "Teacher only reverted to type under provocation. He spoke like a slave master in the old days of our servitude when we were conditioned to mechanical obedience. He uttered a negative imperative." So could you put that in? And Caesar says, "Could you put that into words even Caesar could understand?" And Virgil says, "He said, no, Aldo, no." Negative imperative. Which I really like that one. So.
Yeah. What do I have? Oh. One from Aldo. "So you will call me by my proper rank, General."
Mm-hmm.
Just a straight one, straight out.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not going to do that one. Let's see. Okay. Upon the three, Caesar, Virgil, and McDonald arriving at the bombed out city, and Caesar says they rise up over the hill and says, "Well, there it is, or was." And Virgil says, "Yeah." And Virgil's like a storm at sea, but solidified. And McDonald says out, "By a bomb 1,000 times the size of our entire arsenal." And then Virgil finishes, "And no one to keep its conscience," like what Mandamus does.
I got one more, and that's from Lisa saying, "I don't want to have to remember my husband. I want to love him now."
Yes, exactly, and that's good. Let's see a funny one here. When Culp is getting his men to respond to the threat that when Virgil, McDonald, and Caesar are getting into the city, and the alarms start going off.
Yeah.
He says, "Quicker, faster," and then I had Daft Punk in my head. "Harder, faster, better, stronger."
I'm sure somebody will put that into a YouTube eventually one day.
Yes, exactly. And I have a couple more here. So.
Good.
And he says, when this is when Aldo has his fireside chat, and I would refer back to this. I shouldn't say fireside chat, fireside rant, maybe. Fireside chat implies being like Roosevelt.
Yeah. And being, giving everybody hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And Aldo is like Aldo talks about guns. It's like, with guns we will smash the humans, all humans, and then we will smash Caesar. And then this is when they have their record scratch Scooby-Doo movement. Exactly. Okay, and then let's see. And then I'll finish off with a couple. I got two more. When Caesar is fighting with Aldo, we're going to fight with Aldo. The humans that are corralled up and held, like Aldo had ordered. Mm-hmm. He says, "What's the matter with them?" And McDonald says, "I guess you might say they just joined the human race," because they're all chanting, "Ape has killed ape."
Yep.
And then at the very end, the lawgiver states to the children attending the class, says, "Yet in the aftermath of Caesar's victory, the surface of the world was ravaged by the vilest war in human history. The great cities of the world split asunder and were flattened."
Cool.
Yep. Alrighty.
I highly recommend to the listeners to go online and look. And if you just research Battle for the Planet of the Apes, they have several different posters that are very interesting and how they, when they came out. This was back in the day when they actually did artwork instead of images and things of that nature, not like what they do today. And this is all painted out. And some of them are so embellished, I should say. I would say, just to give a proper description. It makes you think more of what the movie would be once you get there, and then you get to the movie, you're like, what is this? This is not what I thought I'd see.
Yeah.
We'd always recommend just go watch them and do it in continuity.
Yes. In order as like they were meant to be. Because there's those portions in the film as part as flashbacks. If you haven't seen the other films, you're not going to get what the heck going on. So. Yeah,
exactly. You're going to be like, why am I? Or you're watching it and you go, why am I watching this again? Sometimes. All right. So I think that is with our coverage so far. As always, like Jerry likes to do, and continue on with the thought ratings and of the movie itself. So we haven't done this in a long time, but you already have one in here, don't you?
Yeah, I have it at 6.5. It's just the weakest of the original 5. And well, that's because one of them has to be the weakest, but
yeah, actually that's why mine's like 4.8 because it's not my favorite at all.
It's just like, if I'm going to watch any original Apes movies, it's going to be like the original, Conquest, Escape, and Beneath. It's going to be my order, and Battle is the last. So.
Yeah, Battle definitely would be the last if you were to do that.
Yeah, because I mean, when you make the original so good, how are you going to even get close to it?
They kept trying to see if they could, find lightning in a bottle again from it. A lot of film companies do this. They're like, oh, well, we did it before. We could do it again with a sequel. And next thing you know, you're running it into the dirt. Like there was an Apes movie not too long ago, within the past 6 years. I don't know if you remember saying it, but I didn't realize it came out. And I'm like, wait, they put out another one for this series? And
there's been like the original one with had John Lithgow in it, and then the one after, there was another one after, like 2 or 3 after that.
Yeah,
it's like I've been. It's like, this is not one I've been kept up with.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, I was like, wait, they put out another one? And I was like, oh, okay. I guess there's a following for it, and I'm sure there are people that do. But those actually, I thought those were very creative in how they did it and how they were able to do it with the mocap and everything else. And Andy Serkis being really talented as who he is with all the mocap and the voiceover. But yeah, it's apples and oranges from the original, and or bananas and plantains. Well, they're the same, but they're different.
Well, plantains are more starchy.
Yes. But yeah, that was our coverage for this particular movie. We hope that you guys enjoyed it, or if you have any thoughts yourself on the movie, which leads us to feedback. And obviously we posted this a long time ago. I didn't re-up it, unfortunately. Sorry, everybody. But this is something for you to listen to and have fun listening to. But if you feel the need that you want to send in some feedback, please do so. The way to do that is you could go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. Follow us there. You could leave a message in the messenger right there, or you could go wherever, and if you could scroll all the way back when it was actually posted, and then leave a comment. If you feel the need, you want to get in touch with us, email us, adrenalinecinema.podcast@gmail.com. You can find every link known to man on the pyrocoreentertainment.com website. So that way you'll have Adrenaline Cinema, Panels to Pixels, a whole bunch of them that are up there. It's up to snuff. I got everything working, so you guys could easily click on that stuff and get in touch with us that way. There also is the YouTube, and we are also on YouTube as well. And we get, through Spotify and stuff like that, we get feedback through that. Speaking of, with ratings or reviews, there are some for Spotify. So if you could please do so, it'd be greatly appreciated, as well as Apple Podcasts. We can be found on multiple other different podcast players of choice, as well as, like I stated before, YouTube Music, all that good stuff. But that's about it. Right now we're at that point. Well, where could people hear you, Jerry?
Oh, well, I am one of the 4 co-hosts of the Buffalo podcast, out every Monday morning. We record weekly, and we haven't missed for 72 weeks now. I think we're recording 72.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you guys are doing it that long. Wow.
Yeah. It's been over a year now.
Wow. Interesting. All right. And as always, you can hear me here on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast, as always. And then Panels to Pixels podcast, sometimes on What's On Tonight podcast with Becky and Mandy, or Becky and whoever else. The last thing that we were able to do together, Becky and I, was Dexter Resurrection. So if you want, you can check me out there. The episodes are available, like I said, pyrocoreentertainment.com. You'll find all the links there, and that's there as well. Highly recommend everybody check out what's on the pyrocoreentertainment.com website. Follow that. Check out the other podcasts that are there. Give a little bit of a like and love. But other than that, that was our show. And I just want to thank everybody for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jerry.
And we'll see you guys the next time we change the reel. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.